The Red Lotus, the anarchist group that took the Avatar world by storm for a few weeks. Their origins are still shrouded in mystery and its members steeped in shadow. Let's go over a few facts about them you may or may not know. Hey folks, welcome to the Geek Talk. Today we're going to discuss some facts about the Red Lotus. Special thanks to my channel members for making this Monday Members Choice. If you too want to become a member, just join below. The poll for next week's video is live right now and open until the end of the week. With all that out of the way, let's get into the facts. Up first, did you realize that the three members that Zahir rescued died in the reverse order that they were freed? Being from first to last, Pali, who was killed by herself, and Suyin, but was rescued last in Northern Air Temple territories. Minghua, who was killed by Mako and freed from the volcano prison she was being held, and Ghazan, who killed himself with lava and was rescued first from his wooden boat prison. According to the Legacy of the Fire Nation, page 20, Iroh tried to stop Zai Bao from defecting from the White Lotus and creating a new faction in the Red Lotus. Of course, this is significant because Iroh is the Grand Lotus, and if anyone could have convinced the founder of the Red Lotus, it would have been him. It's also of note because the reason Zai Bao split off from the Red Lotus was because he felt the modern White Lotus was merely being glorified bodyguards to the Avatar and nothing else. Which is funny because a lot of the fans also agreed with that sentiment. But who knows, now that Avatar Studios, which is producing new TV, movies, and books in the future, maybe this is a storyline that we can see in full. In the art of the animated series, Book 3, Change, page 10, Michael DiMartino states that the idea of an evil avatar has been around since Book 1 of the original series. In fact, I made a video a few weeks back about how one of them sort of exists in a weird space between canon and non-canon, which you should check out, but after you watch this video. But the creators of the show always shot those ideas down of an evil airbender until Harmonic Convergence and the return of all of the airbenders. Did you notice that the Red Lotus was the second group since the original Team Avatar to have a bending master from all four bending disciplines? Zahir, who was previously a non-bender, as the airbender, Ghazan as the earthbender, Minghua as the waterbender, and Pali as the firebender. Going back to the art of the animated series Book 3 Change, on page 27, Brian Konietzko, the co-creator of Avatar The Last Airbender, makes note of Minghua's dark origins. At first, her concept started out as a dark joke about what would happen if Amon survived the explosion from Book 1, but he lost his arms. Of course, they didn't resurrect Amon, which is a good choice, but they did come up with Minghua. Her unique waterbending technique is so cool, I even think it could lead to something of an evolution of waterbending, specifically psychic bending, which we've already seen from Amon and of course the combustion benders, notably Pali, who is outright stated to be a telekinetic person, at least according to Brian Konietzko. And again, to me that is the next evolution to benders, moving away from martial arts and using only the mind at high master levels. Speaking of Pali, did you know that the tattoos and the tattoos of the original Sparky Sparky Boom Man were inspired by the third eye of Shiva, the war god of the Hindu faith? All known members of the Red Lotus, with the exception of Zai Bao and Minghua, have demonstrated the ability to use at least one specialized bending technique within their respective elements. Iroh, which most people forget was part of the original Red Lotus, was capable of metal bending and proficient in the use of seismic sense. Ghazan was a lava bender, Pali was a combustion bender, Unalaq invented spirit bending, a variation of healing which allows a waterbender to alter spiritual energy. Zahir is capable of unassisted flight, and according to an interview on IGN, Minghua was supposed to be a specialized bender as well, with Michael DiMartino stating,
"Yeah, we just wanted a different type of waterbender that we hadn't done before. I think originally we were like, oh, she's going to be a bloodbender, but we were like,
we've already done that.
Yeah, we're like, we did that already.
Sure.
What's something different?"
And I think ultimately this was a good choice. Yes, it would have been nice to see all the Red Lotus as extremely lethal because of their specialized and devastating techniques. Bloodbending was definitely overdone in Book 1 though, but what do you all think in the comments below? Maybe Minghua could have been limited by being a full moon bloodbender instead of what we saw from Amon, Tarlok, and their father Yakon? In fact, the Red Lotus could have waited for the full moon to capture Korra at Zhao Fu. That could have been sort of neat, but I still probably wouldn't have been able to get behind that. In the art of the animation series Book 3 Change, on page 91, it stated that Ghazan's form of lava bending is based on Bajiquan, a martial art based on close quarters combat, based around explosive elbows and knee strikes. But it's also noted that Ghazan and the other Red Lotus members are not formally trained with any of their bending arts, which is why they were so unique. They would have picked up techniques during their travels rather than learning them from a school or a set of instructors. This is most apparent when Zahir takes on Tenzin, where his novice, untrained form of airbending couldn't stand up to the son of the last airbender. Did you notice that most of the Red Lotus members met ironic ends? Unalaq was destroyed by his own spirit bending technique. Pali blew her own head off with her combustion bending. Minghua got electrocuted to death through her own water arms. Ghazan was crushed by a cave-in caused by his own lava bending. And Zahir, who believed in order through chaos and had mastered the ability of flying by letting go of his earthly tether, was defeated by a group of airbenders working together to make a tornado, before being literally tethered to the earth. More than that, the anarchy created in the Earth Kingdom by the Queen's assassination ultimately led to the rise of a more dictatorial regime in the form of Kuvira's Earth Empire. This is actually a huge critique of one of my friends who also enjoys Avatar, who really despises Zahir's philosophy and the fans who sort of put his philosophy on a pedestal as being better than everything else. And I have to sort of agree, especially after reading the book Why Nations Fail, which I'm going to plug really fast. I won't go too far into it, but it explores why chaotic and anarchist ideologies don't work, which should be obvious, but that's just me. The main point is that if you're going to overthrow any kind of government, you best have a better replacement. Often in our modern world, that's democratic and pluralistic governments that have proper checks and balances in place, with free markets that avoid monopolies. But seriously, great book though, you all should read it. Also, this is one of the reasons I love Legend of Korra, because it stirs this kind of discussion. Anyway, moving on to number 10. Did you know that when the storyboard artist presented the board for Pali's death scene, where she basically blows her own head off, everyone in the room was stunned speechless, even without the scene being properly animated or scored or anything like that? I mean, just look at these thumbnails, that's when you know you have something special. On page 183 of the Art of the Animated Series, Book 3 Change, many fans were confused to see this picture of Minghua with arms. This was likely because this image was circulated online without its caption, where creator Brian Konietzko notes that Minghua was indeed born without arms. She in no way lost them or had them cut off in her childhood. Isn't it sort of cool that both the Red Lotus and the White Lotus have attacked the city of Ba Sing Se? While the White Lotus did this to liberate the Earth Kingdom capital from the Fire Nation and to help restore balance between the four nations, the Red Lotus infiltrated the city to kill the Earth Queen and topple the governments to throw the world in disarray. Another interesting detail between the Red and the White Lotus is their logos. The reddish-black color scheme of the logo of the Red Lotus is reminiscent of that of Vaatu, while the Order of the White Lotus's color scheme matches that of Rava. And that's it. Were there some facts in this video you didn't know about? I thought the tidbit about Minghua as a bloodbender was the most interesting. Which fact in this video was your favorite, and why do you love or hate the Red Lotus? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.